Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is D with High Off Blue Hour, and I'm moving on from LTX Studio. This isn't meant to be kind of to down talk LTX Studio. I do think it has a use case scenario for certain people, particularly if you really want to do in-depth storyboarding, or you actually want to legitimately make a AI generated movie beginning to end in totality. I'm not interested in doing any of those things. When it comes to AI generated video, I'm more so interested in just kind of creating short, fun social media clips and short B-roll type footage of just kind of imaginative scenarios, you know what I mean? So nothing too extensive. I don't need full-on storyboarding and all of that type of stuff. If I want to plan out a video or something like that, I'm just going to storyboard with pen and paper, just the old-fashioned way. Not to mention LTX Studio, so far the quality of the generations just haven't been up to par in terms of what I would want to do. Now, admittedly, that could be a me problem. Maybe I'm just not skilled enough at prompting to get the results I want. But the fact is, I've experimented with other AI video generation companies that have been able to give me results that are a lot more in line with what I like to do. And so I'm going to talk about two of these that I'm trying to decide between right now. So moving on from LTX Studio, not to say you shouldn't use it or there's no use case scenario for it for you, particularly if you just have a lot of money that you're willing to put into generating lots of storyboards and scenes and things like that. There's a lot of trial and error involved with LTX Studio, in my opinion. And just kind of, I guess basically the juice isn't worth the squeeze so far with LTX Studio for me. So these next two companies that I want to look at, let me get into my kind of different viewpoint here. We have Kling AI, and then we're also going to look at Runway AI. But so as you can see, I'm already into the image to video generation screens. I've already started doing stuff. So let's just go ahead and kind of look at what I got going on here. So first, Kling AI. This is, I believe somebody mentioned this company in my comments a while back in one of the LTX, in my first LTX Studio video. And at that point, I had never actually heard of Kling, but over the last, month or so, I've started to see content and people talking about Kling AI. So I decided to check it out. And so what I did to just kind of test Kling AI out is I was interested in the image to video video generation, not text to video. Reason being, I'm a longtime user of Midjourney, and Midjourney has been able to consistently produce quality images. And I've always looked at the Midjourney images and just been like, wouldn't it be great if these would just move? Now, I've animated Midjourney images just manually myself, where you take the Midjourney image, you go into Photoshop, cut the image up and all this type of stuff, and then take those pieces into Resolve and do keyframing and using the warper tool and just all these different tricks to quote unquote animate the Midjourney image. And I've gotten okay results with that, but nowhere near what my imagination has envisioned, right? But I've been seeing videos where it's like you've got some Midjourney level quality in terms of image, but it's video. So I've decided to dabble more in with the image to video generation stuff, and that's what led me to Kling. And so what I did, I haven't even tried text to video with Kling, so all of this is going to be very not complete in terms of me talking about Kling AI and Runway. This is all image to video focused, what I'm talking about here. So one of the things that I did over here, we've got some videos with Kling, and I'm just on like a little trial plan. I'm not a paid member as of yet, but so these are 5-second videos that I've already did using image to generation. And so we're going to go over a couple of these just to get the sense of what was going on here. So one of the first ones that I did is this one right here. Now this is Kobe Bryant. This is obviously an AI image that I prompted this image maybe like probably like 2 years ago, or maybe longer than that. It's been a long time that this image has been sitting on my computer. But this is just Kobe Bryant in a long black trench coat, and he's just walking down the street. Now, I'm going to put up the actual original Midjourney image, and I dropped that into the area over here to the left, where you drop your images into this box right here, and then down below you have the option to also type in a prompt. And so the actual prompt that I typed in for this was Kobe Bryant slowly walks forward, his shoulders and arms moving slowly and confidently. The bottom of his black trench coat blows lightly in the wind. The camera is steady and smooth. High quality, sharp image. Creativity settings, you have creativity and relevance. If you want to have a balance of kind of both, you kind of have it more in the middle. I bumped mine up a little bit. And this one was in professional mode, and it's 5 seconds. And then further down you have negative prompts, and these are optional, but negative prompts, in this box you type in the things that you don't want. So I put blur, disfigurement, grain, noise, and distortion. Just those are things that I knew off the top of my head that I didn't want in the video. And then you click generate. So let me press play and we'll see what the results were. Now this blew me away when I saw this, because this is, it literally just brings to life that still image and does it in a very convincing, just quality looking fashion. I don't see any kind of distortion or warping, or at least any that stands out enough to even be mentioned. I always want to leave room for, that I might be wrong about something, but just off, quickly looking at the image, I don't see any major problems, artifacts, distortion, or anything like that. I've always talked about AI image generation being almost magic, and this is just an acceleration of that, where you just take an image where a video, the image in itself didn't exist, and then you prompt that. And then now you take that image that didn't exist and you can quickly turn it into a video that doesn't really exist. It's really kind of crazy to even kind of think about. But so there's that one. Let's look at another one. This one that we're about to look at. Now this is LeBron James. Now I did this. This is another one that's been on my computer for a while. I won't go into the backstory of why I did these images, but there was something that I was doing on another channel. That's the reason for why I was creating these images. They were for a thumbnail for another channel that I used to run. And so this is an old image. It's LeBron James. He's basically in some sort of just armor, just kind of whatever you want to think about this armor, some sort of futuristic tactical type armor, whatever the case may be. And this was just up here. We got this is the still image right here that I just dropped into the image and prompt box for image to video. And then we're going to press play. This is just a 5-second clip. Now the prompt that I typed under the image for this, I said LeBron James slowly walks forward, raising his hands out in front of him and rubbing them together. Now in my mind, I was picturing him rubbing his hands together, kind of like in anticipation, kind of like Birdman, if you know who that is. But just so that's what I was picturing. And then his eyebrows raise, showing increased aggression and determination. High quality and sharp camera. Everything else was about the same. Professional mode, 5 seconds. Negative prompt, I put blur, disfigurement, grain, noise, distortion. Once again. So let's actually press play and let's look at the quality of this. Now, once again, this blew me away. Now, I'm probably late to the party when it comes to this stuff, when it comes to Kling and Kling AI. I've been talking about LTX Studio for the last few weeks or whatever. But this blew my mind. This is super high quality, super clean, super, one of those things where before people ever even knew about AI video and its existence, if you saw this clip you would just assume, well, LeBron James must have been working on a movie project, or he must have, he must be up to something. But you wouldn't think, oh, this is fake, right? This legitimately looks like LeBron James. Physically, that kind of, it's got, if he put on a suit of armor, that kind of looks like how he would look. He's an in shape guy and all that type of stuff. So, and it's funny that he's kind of touching his hairline. We all know LeBron's been a running narrative and joke about LeBron's hairline, so it's kind of interesting that they made him. I said he puts his hands together in front of him and they made him do this. I thought that was kind of interesting. But again, you see the quality here. And then we're going to look at two more, and then we're going to go into Runway AI, because I'm trying to pick between Runway and Kling. And financially, price-wise, at their lowest paid tier, they're pretty similar in terms of just amount of money you're going to be spending. So that's not really the issue. It's just I don't want to pay for both of them. So I'm trying to find which one will work best for me. Now let's look at this one right here. Now this is very fitting, because this image right here, this was the thumbnail that I used for my very first LTX Studio video. So it's very kind of fitting that we're going to be doing this here. But I took that thumbnail, dropped it into the image box here, and then for prompt, I just put the T-800 cyborg slowly lowers the camera he's holding as he turns his head and looks at the viewer. His glowing red pupils start to dilate and he opens his mouth in a sinister droid-like grin. Cinematic action, horror look, high quality, and sharp visual. Now with my prompting, I'm always kind of experimenting a little bit, because with each platform, I'm not really sure which terms and which formats of prompting, how you type certain things and what, verbiage you use, what actually works and what doesn't, what's useful and what's actually pointless. So it's kind of a bit of an experiment, but there's certain prompting rules that are kind of general, kind of universal across all AI image generating platforms, if you understand what I'm saying. But didn't do anything with motion brush, which I wasn't even able to. But under normal circumstances, you can use the motion brush to kind of increase movement for objects. But all the settings pretty much stayed the same in terms of the creativity and relevant settings and whatnot. Let's go ahead and press play to actually see how this looked. This was actually possibly the most impressive one. Let's press play. Now, how crazy is that? From just the still photo that I'll keep repeatedly showing so you understand where this video is originating from. But just look at how clean this looks. And not just the Terminator himself, but what's going on in the background. Things are very consistent in the background. The camera, the vehicle that's approaching. Maybe I should go full screen with this. All right, so let's go back, press play. But you see the vehicle that's approaching in the back. You also see pedestrians in the background. Obviously, you can't see them clearly because they're out of focus, but you see them walking down the street with relatively consistent movement. All of the bokeh in the back, the lighting, the city lights, just everything about this, the movement of the T-800. He lowers the camera, he turns, looks at the viewer, kind of opens his mouth a little bit. The textures, there's so much that's convincing about this video. So I was very, very impressed with this. And then next on this one, this is Batman. And this was again, just a still image that I did in Midjourney and brought that into here, dropped it into the box, prompted. Subject slowly walks forward, turning his head slightly, looking right to left. He is breathing heavy. Snow is slowly falling. Smooth dolly shot, high quality, clear, and sharp visual. So let's press play again. And you got Batman just walking forward. looking like he doesn't play any games at all. But I love everything about how this looks. The shadow, the light, the moisture being created from the snow on the pavement, just the consistency of a lot of things. As Batman gets closer kind of to the camera, quote unquote, you can see his front right side starts to get a little darker because of how the shadows are falling, because he's getting closer. Just basically what I'm saying is the lighting and everything is just very consistent with how this looks. Like, looking at this, I want to see the story that's going on, like what's going on in the city right now. He's on, just the mood and the atmosphere of all of this looks great. The motion, the walk, all of it. You got he's slowly turning his head, a little bit just to each side, kind of surveying his surroundings a little bit. So very impressed with that. And once again, all of these are cases of me just taking still images that I already had and then dropping them into this box and adding some additional text prompting to get certain things. Now this right here, this young lady, I don't think I used this for a thumbnail. I used this in a video that I did before, but I just dropped this still image once again in this box. You got this young lady just kind of looking up from her smartphone. And then for the prompt, I said she raises her head from her phone and looks at the viewer and smiles, raising her eyebrows in elation. High quality, smooth video. Press play. Like, how impressive is that? From just, again, taking a picture that didn't really exist and quickly turning it into a video that never really existed. Now, you can see certain things like as she starts to smile, you can see a little bit of artifact type things going on, but all things considered, I'm not mad at it at all. Now this was a standard one. This one was done in standard mode. Some of these were done in professional mode and some were done in standard. This one, you can tell it doesn't have quite as high a resolution as the first couple ones I showed you that were done in professional mode. So, keep those things in mind. But there's that one. And lastly, let's look at this one right here. Now, this one is interesting because what happened here. Now, this is obviously, if you saw my last video before this one, it's LTX, talking about doing green screen stuff in LTX Studio. And this was an image that I used for the thumbnail. And so I thought, once again, let me try to put some motion into that image. Now this video here, it's a 5-second video. This took a long time to generate for some odd reason. Now all of these, some took like 12 minutes, some took as fast as 5 minutes. This one took at least 35 minutes to finally generate. It was super bizarre. I don't know why it took that long. I mean, I saw stuff online, people talking about, well, when you upgrade to a paid plan, the generations happen faster, which, okay, that's believable, but why did I have some generations that happened in 5 minutes, even on the free plan? So what happened that I've had some generations that were quicker and this one was so massively slow? Like, what was that? Was that just an anomaly, or is that something that I can expect going forward? But when it finally did generate, well, first let's look at what I actually typed in to go along with the image. I put, the man slowly turns his head and looks at the viewers with a stoic expression. Magical energy starts to swirl around the cubes in his hands. Moody and cinematic, high quality, vibrant, and sharp video. So let's press play. Now I'm really happy with how this turned out, but there are some things that he didn't do, like he never slowly turned his head. There never was really any magical energy swirling around the cubes. You know what I mean? Now, to be honest, there was kind of a magical energy feel to just the video, just because of, you know, you got the rain falling, the cubes are illuminated. There is just a lot stylistically going on here. You know, I didn't visually see magical energy swirling around the cubes, but somehow I did kind of feel it, I guess, if that makes sense. All right, so that's Kling AI. But while Kling AI was taking the time to generate this video, the 35 or so minutes it took to do it, I said, now wait a minute, let me check out Runway, because maybe that's a better option. Maybe their generations are faster, maybe their generations are of a higher quality, and maybe the pricing is better. At the time, I didn't know. So went over to Runway, and here we are in Runway. Now, again, this is just kind of a trial free. You know, I had like, I'm out of the free credits, but at the beginning I had like 500 or something free credits. And so what I did is I did do some new images, but I also brought in some of the images that I brought into Kling, because I wanted to do a compare and contrast type thing. So while that thumbnail, the guy holding the cubes was taking its time generating in Kling, I came over here to Runway and decided to put the same image into the box and to try to generate a video from that. And this is kind of what that area looks like. You drag an image or video and you drop it over here, and then you can come down here and add things in terms of descriptors and basically a prompt. So the very first one that I got was this right here. And at the beginning, this was great. Like up until that point right there, where just this random cube jumps out of the regular cubes that were there. And not only is it a random cube, the cube has a hand attached to it. You'll see it here right there. You see it's got these fingers kind of attached to the bottom of it. So you got that just goofy AI random wonkiness going on. Now, if that wasn't there, if that hadn't happened, this would be exactly what I had wanted in Kling. Because remember, I said, you know, I wanted the man to turn his head and have a stoic expression as he looked at the viewer. This does that perfectly, except it has this random cube pop out of the other cubes. But let's press play again and just look at it. You also got that magical energy that I talked about. So yeah, so it was promising, but also very kind of disappointing too, because it's like, this is perfect except for that one element that just can't be ignored. And I really hate that it put that in there. Like, why did it just have a random third cube with fingers attached to it just pop out the side of, you know? So that was a little bit kind of like, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, everything else looked great, but why did that happen, right? So then I tried to generate it again using the same image, but, you know, did some slight changes to the prompt or whatever. And this is what I got this time. Now you see we got motion, but the character himself, he's not turning his head at all. And the movement that he's making himself, like his body, is very slight. Like you see his hands holding the cube move and shift a little bit. But the bulk of the movement that's happening in this clip is the camera and the rain in the background. Now this is still a high quality video. Like, to me, it looks good. Like, it's a good generation. So yeah, I was happy with that, but still didn't turn his head or anything like that, but it's fine. And then I went on and brought in, this is another mid-journey image, just a still image, and I dropped this in. In the prompt that I did for this one, I said a red car drives through a snowy Gothic city at night, extreme wide angle establishing shot. And I messed around with this a few times because you're gonna see what goes wrong here, and I could not get this to correct itself. But so I press play, and the car is driving backwards. No idea why, but it's driving backwards. Now in theory, you could say, well, just download the video and then just reverse it. So like, it's like the car is actually driving forward. Yeah, I guess I could do that, but I kind of feel like I shouldn't have to. So I said, let me try it again. So I did it again, but this time I changed the prompt. I said, red car drives forward through a snowy Gothic city at night, extreme wide angle, etc., etc. Because I just thought, well, maybe if I specify driving forward, it'll make that adjustment, even though it seems like that should be the default. If I say a car is driving, you would think they would naturally make the car go forward, because just in general, drive is forward when you're in a vehicle. You know, if you're going to go backwards, it's reverse. So just the term drive kind of by itself kind of automatically means forward. You know what I mean? But let's press play. And once again, we're going backwards. It's driving backwards for some odd reason. Pause it. Now let's go down. I said, let me try it again. Tried it again. Same deal. They just will not let this car drive forward. It just has to go backwards for some reason. And that's just very, very bizarre and also disappointing, because it seems like at this point, you know, they would be able to get that right. Like, that doesn't, like, asking for a red car to drive forward seems like almost the simplest task that you could ask a image to video generation model to do. Like, that's just very simple. Red car drives forward. That should be able to easily be done, right? But for some reason, Runway was just having a problem producing that for this particular image. So I just canceled that. I just forgot about, just said I'm not going to keep messing around with that. So then what I did is I took that Batman image that I put into Kling AI, this one right here. So I took this image. Again, this was a still image right here, over here to the left, and then it turns into this video. So I decided to take that same still image, put it into Runway right here, with the prompt just being cinematic static camera shot of Batman walking forward. And so press play, and this is what I got. Not good at all, because Batman really isn't, I mean, he is moving technically, but super slow-mo. But the falling snow is, you know, fine, I guess, but just Batman's movement here is not what I wanted. Just very stiff and almost not even moving at all. So I said, let me do this again and try to get this right. And so I altered the prompt a little bit by saying cinematic shot of Batman confidently walking forward, his cape lightly blowing in the wind. All right, so let's see what we got with that. Press play. And you get, this is much better, but it's still not of the same quality, in my opinion, as this one from Kling AI. This just looks way a lot more just grounded and like cemented in reality, like he's actually stepping on a physical ground. Whereas over here in Runway, what they do with it, it looks like he's, let me go full screen, I guess. Press play. It looks like he's taking steps, but his body is just kind of sliding along the pavement. And, you know, you could say, well, it does look like ice. So, you know, sliding does make sense, but just, you know, it doesn't look quite the way I want. The one from Kling AI was pretty much perfect. Now, this one does have some good things going on with it. You know, you get to see, like, I think the city, the buildings behind him look good. You get, you know, some of the terrain. Just kind of the peripheral things do look good. And overall, Batman himself, like, it's not a bad looking Batman, but just some of the little details to me aren't nearly as good as as they are in this Kling AI version. So that's Batman, right? So then what I did is I said, let me do this here. Let me bring in an image. This is the Mid-Journey image, and it was just basically like a female protagonist, and she's got like an orc-like monster that's in front of her, basically. I don't even remember what the original prompt for this image was. I did this in Mid-Journey, and it was months ago, I guess, when I did it. But I brought it, dragged it, and dropped it into Runway. And for the actual text part of the prompt, I put cinematic shot of the heroine turning and facing the viewer as a large orc monster aggressively encroaches behind her. Her eyes widen and her mouth turns into an intense yell. Handheld tracking shot. And so let's press play on that. And this is what we get. Now there's something impressive about this, but it's also wrong, you know what I mean, in terms of what's actually happening. Now what's impressive to me about it is the quality of just the textures, the lighting, just how it actually looks. Now there's obviously wrong things with it. First off, the orc he looks like a statue, like he's just frozen in time, like he's not even moving. And then our female protagonist, she kind of looks like she's pretending to run in slow motion, like she's just kind of messing around a little bit. And you know, I'm not sure what she's doing with her hand. It looks like she's holding an invisible microphone, like she's asking for a comment or something like that, like a reporter or whatever. But the actual look of the model, like the look of the woman and everything, like I think is high. You know, it's a high quality. It is impressive, but just they got some things wrong. Obviously, the snow looks good, falling, all of that. So then I said, let's go ahead and try to do it again. And I tweaked the prompt. I said a cinematic shot of the heroine turning and facing the viewer as she runs from a large orc monster aggressively encroaching behind her. Her eyes widen and her mouth turns into an intense yell. The orc monster has glowing blue eyes and is breathing heavy with determination. Handheld tracking shot following the woman as she runs away from the orc monster. So that was the prompt, and let's see what that got us. Press play. In fact, let's go full screen. Press play. And now you see the glowing eyes that I wanted the orc to have, the glowing blue eyes that I wanted the orc to have. They gave those to the woman. Now there are some things that they did approve upon with this. They did give the orc some motion, which I'm glad about. The orc actually, you know, his legs are pumping, his arms and shoulders are going a little bit. He looks like he is in motion to some degree. For her, they did give her kind of a lot more of a pronounced open mouth expression, like she's yelling or screaming or whatever the case may be. And she's clearly trying to make her way away from the orc monster. So there are some things they did that were a lot more accurate. And again, the quality is there in terms of just like the textures, the lighting, just the details, the specifics about how the characters are moving and some of those different things. You know, they kind of messed up a little bit. You know, I'm fine with how this turned out, just as an example of proof of quality. And then I tried to do the Kobe Bryant image again. I tried to bring that Kobe Bryant image into here, but this got flagged for content moderation policy. And it turns out, like, you know, one of the things that they'll flag is if you put famous people, like obviously famous people, in the images. And I guess Kling AI doesn't, you know, some AI generators don't have an issue with that and some do. This one obviously did. So I couldn't do the Kobe Bryant one. And I was really curious to see what they would do with that picture, like how much different it would be than what Kling AI did with it, but couldn't do it. So I tried this one. Now this is an image I did in Mid-Journey a while back, and it was supposed to be a fusion of Venom and the Predator, right? So you see, you can kind of, you know, maybe you didn't know what that was, but now that I said it, you can probably see it, right? Like the got the Predator dreads, And you know, a lot of like the Venom style mouth to a certain degree, Venom eyes in a way, but actually a little bit lessened because this isn't full on Venom, it's Venom and the Predator. So anyway, so the prompt that I did for this, I said the creature slowly walks forward, opening and closing its mouth as its chest rises and falls from its heavy breathing. His dreadlocks move about lightly with his movements. Handheld tracking shot. All right, so let's press play on that. In fact, let's go full screen with this. I know most of the videos that I've shown in this video, I didn't do full screen for them. But let's go full screen for this. Let's press play. And this isn't bad at all. It's just not a lot going on though. Like his mouth isn't opening and closing, which is something that I requested. So with his mouth not opening and closing, it kind of looks like somebody's just wearing a super high quality Halloween mask. But just in general, just, you know, for taking that still picture and adding convincing movement to it, this actually did a good job. Just the textures, the lighting. Yeah, I'm happy with this. There's obviously some tweaks and things that could be done differently or could be altered, could be changed. And I just didn't do that. But just first impressions, I thought this was actually really good. So, and that was the last one. I ran out of credits on that one. And so that was the last one that I did with Runway AI. All right, so let's go ahead and let me talk to y'all a little bit. So I'm trying to decide between Runway and Kling AI, and I still am not quite sure which one I'm going to go with yet. They both seem to produce pretty high quality results, and I think a big reason for that is the mid-journey images are fairly high quality, and that's why the image to video generation idea has me kind of so intrigued, because that really ups when you just generate the video using an image that has already been produced. It seems that really ups the quality of the final video that you get, as opposed to with LTX Studio, where I'm just going completely on just text prompting. And you know, you can do face swapping, which that is something, but that's very lightweight compared to just taking an image that you already feel is pretty much perfect and then adding movement to that image, which is something that I've kind of always wanted to do with mid-journey images. And so Kling AI and Runway seem to really be able to make that possible at a high level, but I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet right now. Now, man, my mouth is dry. Now one of the things that I do think Runway has going for it is, I can't really do an example of it right now because I'm out of credits, but whatchamacallit is that they generate the videos much quicker than Kling AI. I do have to say that all of the videos that I generated with Runway using image to video generation, it took less than a minute. Yeah, less than a minute. Pretty sure less than a minute. Just you can see the progression bar just moving very quickly, 10%, 20%, 30%, just going up very fast. Whereas with Kling AI, it's kind of like, it's pretty much you press generate and then go, walk away, go make a sandwich, make some coffee or something, because it's not going to happen quickly, at least compared to Runway. So that is one thing that I'll say Runway for sure, from what I've seen, has over Kling AI, is that it generates its videos much quicker. But in terms of the actual quality of the videos once they're generated, I think Kling might be a little bit better, maybe. And I can't even really commit to that, because I've seen some, it's like Runway does quality, it's just kind of a preference about whether you like the image. Like the quality is definitely up to par with Runway. It's just a question about whether you like the image. Like, before I get out of here, just once again to repeat this example, this is Runway's version of our guy holding the cubes. Now this is the version that didn't have any artifacts or any weird stuff happening with it. So that's Runway's version. Now let's look at Kling AI's version of that same deal here. This is Kling AI's version. Now, what I will say is this was done in standard mode, not professional mode. So the clarity and the resolution doesn't quite look as good as Runway's did with their version of it. But what's actually happening in the shot, I like a lot more. So final verdict, there is no final verdict right now. I'm still trying to decide. So maybe if you're watching this video, maybe leave down in the comments if you have experience with both Kling and Runway. Maybe let me know what you think is the better one specifically for image to video generation, not necessarily text to video or any of that other stuff, because this is what I'm particularly concerned about between these two, is the image to video generating stuff, because I have a feeling that's kind of what I'm going to dabble in more than text to video, because I already use Midjourney a lot, so it would just be a really smooth, easy kind of transition to do. So Runway image to video generation versus Kling AI image to video generation. Which one is better? Which one do you prefer? Me personally, can't decide yet. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm done with LTX Studio. No animosity. It's not for me. You know, just because it's the first AI video generator that I started using, I'm not going to be stubborn and just keep using it because it's the first one. If I feel there's other better ones out there, and I think Kling AI and Runway, in terms of image generation, image to video generation, seem to be better. All right, so that is a video, you guys. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.